I just got back from a long business trip, exhausted but happy to finally rest. But as soon as I pulled up to my house, I felt something was off. My Mustang was gone. Panic hit me like a wave. I parked, rushed into the house, and immediately checked the security cameras. What I saw made my blood boil. My car was being towed. And there, standing with a smug grin and arms crossed, was Karen, the HOA president. But let's rewind and find out how this all happened. Before starting this crazy HOA story, take a pause, subscribe, and share. Also, leave a comment telling me where you're watching from. It's always interesting to see how far these stories travel. Now, let's get started. I had worked for this Mustang my whole life. Many sleepless nights, tough shifts, skipping vacations, and friendly get-togethers, all just so one day I could drive my own car, something I could be proud of. It wasn't just a car to me. It was a symbol of my efforts and dreams, something I had worked for years to achieve. Every day brought me closer to this moment, and when I finally got the keys to my Mustang, it felt like I had reached the pinnacle. I was proud that after all the struggles and battles, this car was mine. But one terrible morning, after returning home from a long trip, all of that fell apart. My Mustang was gone. Instead of parking my beloved car in the garage, I saw only an empty spot on the driveway. A surge of anger and frustration filled me instantly. I couldn't believe I'd been robbed. I went inside, checked the cameras, and saw that it was all set up by Karen, the HOA president. I knew about her. She had always been bossy and cruel. She became the HOA president because she had ambitions to control every aspect of the residents' lives. Her rules were unpleasant and absurd, from parking bans to small but burdensome restrictions. She enjoyed wielding her power and had no qualms about using it to make people comply with her demands. Everyone knew it was better not to get into conflicts with Karen. She always found a way to punish those who didn't follow her rules. I immediately went to her house and knocked on the door. She opened it, holding her favorite coffee, and looked at me with a smug expression. "Looking for something?" Her voice dripped with poisonous politeness. "Where's my Mustang, Karen?" I could barely contain my rage. She shrugged, sipping her drink. "That old clunker? It was violating HOA rules. No sports cars on the driveway overnight. Had to remove it." My fists clenched. "It's my property on my property. You had no right. Read the HOA rules. It's clearly stated there." I knew that was a lie. I had thoroughly reviewed all the rules when I bought the house. Karen had simply decided to settle scores with me. She had long hated me for not letting her fine me for made-up violations. I called the tow yard. They confirmed my car was there. But here's the thing. Karen had registered it as abandoned property. This meant I'd have to pay an outrageous fee to get it back. She thought she had won. Oh, how wrong she was. I immediately realized this situation wasn't a coincidence. If Karen could so easily commit illegal acts, it meant she had repeatedly found ways to circumvent the system. And this time, I was determined to prove to her that she wasn't invincible. I needed to carefully plan my next move. My lawyer, Andrew Miller, had been my ally from the start, and I turned to him for help. He was an experienced attorney, and we had dealt with similar cases before. But this time, he was particularly interested in Karen's case, as it clearly showed signs of a serious legal mistake on her part. We decided to gather all possible evidence: security camera footage, photos and videos from the scene, and testimonies from several neighbors who had seen her call the tow truck. This was crucial, as the very fact of calling the tow truck without prior warning or legal grounds could become key in court. Additionally, we contacted the police. After my calls, they began investigating the situation. It turned out Karen's actions not only violated HOA rules, but could also be classified as illegal possession of someone else's property. This added even more weight to my argument. With every step, I felt my resolve growing stronger. And though I was tempted to act emotionally, I knew the most important thing was to gather evidence and act within the law. In the meantime, I decided not to stop at just getting my car back. I aimed to make sure Karen didn't get away with her arbitrary interference in my life. This wasn't about the car, it was about principle. We also reached out to several lawyers who specialized in HOA cases. They helped us thoroughly analyze all her previous actions and violations that could show her abuse of power. We even found out that Karen had repeatedly fined neighbors for made-up violations that had nothing to do with the rules. Moreover, during the investigation, we learned that Karen had used forged documents to justify her actions in the HOA. This added another significant argument to our case, as it meant she was knowingly breaking the law. Once everything was ready, we filed a lawsuit. I knew it wouldn't be an easy battle. It would be a real legal war with Karen, but I was ready for anything. The courtroom was packed. In the front row sat HOA members, some already with unhappy expressions. They realized Karen had dragged them into a serious mess. Karen tried to maintain her confidence sitting at the defendant's table, but I could see her fingers nervously tapping on the table. The judge, a stern man with graying temples, reviewed our materials. "So, Mr. Williams, you claim your vehicle was towed illegally?" My lawyer stood up. "Yes, Your Honor. We have video evidence showing Miss Karen exceeding her authority. She had no legal right to seize my client's property." The judge nodded and turned to Karen. "Miss Karen, can you explain your actions?" Karen stood up, proudly lifting her chin. "I was just following HOA rules. This car is a violation." My lawyer didn't let her finish. "Your Honor, allow me to quote the official HOA statute." He opened the file and read a clear section where there was no mention of sports cars. The judge frowned. "Miss Karen, it appears you acted arbitrarily. Do you realize this is a violation of the law?" Karen began to mumble something, but the judge interrupted her. "Enough. I'm issuing my ruling. HOA must reimburse Mr. Williams for all towing costs. Furthermore, Miss Karen will personally pay a fine of $8,000. The courtroom erupted in whispers. "Oh, and one more thing," the judge added, throwing a stern look at Karen. "I'm referring this case to the prosecutor's office for possible criminal charges for unlawful possession of property." Karen gasped. It was a collapse. A week later, Karen was removed from her position as HOA president. She tried to appeal but was denied. The police continued their investigation. Karen faced up to 6 months of community service and another fine. I got my Mustang back for free, and a month later, a for sale sign appeared on Karen's property. I sat on my porch enjoying a cold lemonade as she walked to her car with suitcases. "Safe travels, Karen," I called out, barely holding back my laughter. She shot me a spiteful look but didn't say a word. Karen lost, and I got the last laugh. And exactly a week later, Karen put her house up for sale and left it all behind, and in our neighborhood there was only peace, quiet, and harmony. She only left bad memories in our neighborhood and how she tried to make everyone conform to her made-up rules. And I was left with my favorite car, which I worked hard to earn for a very long time, and now I enjoy driving it and remembering how I fought for it with Karen. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to not miss new HOA horror stories.